Hi friends, today I want to talk to you a little bit about one of the questions that I probably get the most, and that is, what is Notion? And then ultimately, is it for me or is it for my organization? Because so often we see that people and teams adopt tools that they end up being frustrated with, or it doesn't serve their purpose the way that they thought it would. So today, what is Notion and who is it for? So I've always found it helpful to just use a little bit of a tools in technology adoption matrix to figure out, is this tool for me, is it for our team, and will it serve our purposes? And basically that matrix is around asking 4 questions. What is it? And then also equally important, what is it not? And then who is it for? And then who is it not for? And then finally, should I use it or should our team use it? So let's quickly journey through some of those points, specifically looking at Notion. So what is Notion not? And this is super important to understand. Sometimes it's easier to begin with a negative. Notion is definitely not a single use case app with a fixed set of specifications that you can buy, download off the shelf and start using right away. Notion is much more than that, and that can be either a good or a bad thing depending on how you look at it. But don't have the expectation that it is akin to a to-do list app or a note-taking app or a project management app that makes that promise that this is the functionality that is immediately available to you as soon as you open up the app, because it is definitely not that. But that then begs the question, what is Notion? And this is the best way that I can explain it to myself and to other people that have these same types of conversations. Instead of being a single use case app or an app with fixed functionality that you buy, download, open, and it just works, Notion is a blank canvas. It is a set of building blocks. It is a language, if you will, with which you can build whatever it is that you need at the end of the day. Notion is also an ecosystem of different apps, including Notion Mail and Notion Calendar and Notion Proper and all these other kind of things. It is a network of functionalities that interact with each other and relate to each other through complex and simple database structures. Notion is a definitely AI first perspective on your work, which means that Notion's recently added, the past 12 months, a little bit longer, AI layer that works through every single aspect of its functionality, completely transforms how you think about these building blocks and how you think about the system. And then I think what is super important to me is, apart from apps that monitor, structure, or report on work or track work, Notion is, through all these different aspects, the fact that it is building blocks, the fact that it is like Lego for your mind and you have to design the system within how all these things work. Given all of that, Notion is ultimately a place where work gets done, not just where you book it, track it, monitor it, but if you're a knowledge worker like myself and many others, where you can sit down and actually do the actual work. So that is what Notion is, and I think the big difference lies in this differentiation between being something you can use straight away and then something that is mere the building blocks, something that you have to use to build whatever it is you're going to need at the end of the day. So who is this not for? And I think there are 2 main groups of people who generally get frustrated when they start using Notion. The first one is people who are used to very sophisticated ways of building exactly what they need. Developers. If you think Notion is 100% customizable to within the finest pixel build exactly what it is that you need, you're going to be frustrated, because it is in essence a no-code to low-code tool, so that people like myself, who are system designers and who are people who want to architect our way of working, can still use it. And that might be either a good or a bad thing for you. It is also definitely not for people who are single use case users, who just want to download and use for a very specific purpose, whether it is note-taking or project management or documentation or whatever else. These 2 people tend to be either frustrated by the lack of or the amount of customizability that is within Notion. So who is it then for? Notion is great for builders, for thinkers, people who want to say, I have an idea of how the system should work. I don't want to spend a year trying to learn code and figure out how to build it for myself, and I want to quickly iterate. That is the type of builders that Notion is exactly adapted for. The thinkers, the system architect, the efficiency designers, people who want to say, how can I get the most out of my system by building something that is fully me, fully fits my way of working, and here is the kicker, can integrate with every single aspect of my work. So instead of having a note-taking app and having a task management app and having a project app and having a chat app and having a documentation app, how can I build something where all these things come together? Notes are related to documents. Documents are related to projects. Tasks are related to the books that I'm reading, for instance, any kind of resource, to clients, to other people. How can I build something that is fully integrated and works the way I want it to work for myself or for our team? That is who Notion is exactly for. So, is Notion for you? That is the last question. I built this little matrix for myself, and I often share it with other people to think about it this way. On the up-down axis, we think about to which extent is the platform integrated or distributed, or your workflows, or your need for integration or distribution in terms of where you do work and how you structure work. And on the horizontal axis, how easy is it to use it, manage it, change it, get up and running, with the learning curve being very high on the left-hand side and it working straight out of the box on the right-hand side. And if you look at some of the other platforms like Evernote, ClickUp, Monday.com, Asana, these platforms are all built to start working right out of the box immediately, mostly to a some or lesser extent with single use case users and applications in mind, whether it is project management or note-taking. So you'll see they all kind of populate that one side of the spectrum. And then on the other side of the spectrum, with a steep learning curve, you'll see some of the more niche applications for structuring knowledge and work, whether it's something like Obsidian or Capacities. And if you've never heard of these before, don't worry, they exist in the corners of the internet where people really want to dig into how to build custom ways of working and structuring their systems and the knowledge. And then at a high level of integration, meaning you can bring all your areas of work together, but yes, with a learning curve, because you have to build these things, you have to tinker with it, is Notion pretty much occupying that space by itself. And then the win-win on the right-hand side, if you can bring everything together and it works straight out of the box, is when you got the developer team, you spend two years fixing the MVP and building that thing from scratch and getting the developer team in again. If you want to change it, that is a custom solution, which isn't often, let's be honest, available to somebody like you and me and teams who just want to get work done. So this is how I would say Notion is different from other apps and help you to figure out, is Notion for you? So if you need a completely integrated or a highly integrated workspace and you don't mind figuring out how to build and put that together, or you work with a consultant or somebody that helps you how to put that together to bring that platform up to a point where you can start using it, then Notion is for you. If you need something for a very specific use case, meaning you don't mind having many apps, you don't mind having these apps not necessarily talking to each other, and you don't mind the context switching of going to and fro between the different apps and the potential efficiency that seeps through the cracks, then yes, go for something like Asana or ClickUp or Evernote or any of these other apps that just work straight out of the box. Of course, if efficiency is the bullseye that you're aiming for, efficiency doesn't exist in any of these four quadrants. Efficiency is a combination of each of these, and I think most importantly, your ability to understand where you and your organization fit and how you use the tools to its maximum capability that is afforded to you. Anyway, I hope you use Notion. I hope you understand who Notion is for and what it is for. If you have any questions, let me know. I'll see you in the next one.